Good afternoon. I have an exciting video for you today. I want to talk about Escort Cosworth police cars. On the back of my recent police car videos, there was one comment that caught my eye where a gentleman said he was once offered an ex-police Ford Escort Cosworth, and when he inquired whether it had any service history, it turned out it had 9 engines and about 12 turbos. So I thought, the police did use Escort Cosworths. I wonder where they all are. So I did a bit of Googling, and this is what I managed to find. If you don't know what an Escort Cosworth is, then frankly, you need to have a word with yourself, because this is probably the most important hot hatchback of the last 30 years. It was a blue-collar superhero supercar beta that was also used in very small numbers as a blue light, hot pursuit, fast response car. I sent a text message this morning to Steve Woodward, my ex-traffic cop friend, and he said to me the Cosworths were used by Humberside, Northumbria and West Yorkshire forces, and they were effectively fast response pursuit cars brought in to catch and deter the Ram Raiders, who were at the time using stolen high-power getaway cars like the Subaru Impreza and Mitsubishi Evo. Steve also said, "I'll be amazed if any of them survived given their role." I thought that was great coming from Steve. He knows his stuff about police cars. Now, I was able to turn up 8 ex-police Escort Cosworths. The Escort Cosworth itself came in 3 different trim levels. These are standard, luxe and motorsport. The motorsport was like a stripped down version, no sunroof, windy up windows, a more lightweight model, which was designed to be sold to like privateer rally teams. The luxe one was more of a road car. It had optional leather that was very expensive, and the standard one was basically just the middle of the range one. Now, interestingly, some of these police cars turned up as being luxe models, but I do have a comment later on where a gentleman says that the police cars had the sunroofs disconnected. So for this video, I've worked with Vehicle Smart car checking service. There's links below to check your car, or a car that you're looking at buying. They basically offer a checking service where you can check whether a car's been written off or stolen and how many owners it's had. So we ran the cars that we found through their checking service, and that was quite interesting. So out of 8 Escort Cosworth police cars that I was able to find, K740 EHK, L255 YNL, M969 PRM, L602 UVE, M982 GAT, L76WRG, L475 BRG and L693 LNW. I was able to find 1 with a current MOT, 1 that failed its MOT in January, 1 that's never been MOT'd but was sold last year, 1 where the trail's gone cold, 1 that's gone missing, and 3 no-shows, no data, nothing. I'm hoping this video is going to be a launch pad for people to get in touch and say, "Here, Geoff, I can actually tell you a little bit about these cars." I'd love to learn more in the comments. So, without further ado, let's have a little dig into what I've been able to find. My first one is the car with a valid MOT. I don't know where it is now. Maybe you can tell me. This is K740 EHK. It's listed as an FL 4x4. FL, what does that mean? I don't know. You tell me. Others are listed as Lux. I'm not sure what FL means. Maybe it just means standard. Showing 24,000 miles currently. It's had 12 owners, and it does come up with a mileage warning, which I would expect. It changed hands in January 2023, and it was MOT'd in January 2023. So this car has only just been sold. It was MOT'd in 2006, 7, 9, 10, 13, 18 and 23. I believe it's still white. You can see it in this photo here alongside the Puma. Not sure what this photo is all about. Again, I don't know. It was quite difficult to find anything on any of these cars. So if you know, please let me know in the comments. Car number 2 is probably the most famous of the ex-police Escort Cosworths. This is L255 YNL. It's a luxury 4x4 and it's on 88,000 miles. This is the car I was able to find the most information about. On a Focus RS Owners Club forum, a user called Tony RS says, "We had an Escort Cosworth in Hull. It was always followed by a BMW dog car. They also then moved on to Subaru, tweaked by ProDrive, and a lad in the RS Owners Club had the Cosworth a while back but doesn't have it anymore. It did at some point wear the plate K2ODS, but I can't find that plate on any cars right now. This car, L255 YNL, does pass all the checks. So not stolen, not written off. It appeared on the Collecting Cars website for sale in March last year, but it didn't sell. There's a walk round video on the listing, but oddly, only 3 people watched the video. It was MOT'd in 2005, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 21 and 23. And this morning I found this car for sale on Car and Classic. So I phoned the seller. I got in touch with Harrison Storage, who are selling the car on behalf of the owner. And from what I can tell from speaking to Harry, it may well be coming up for sale in the restoration show sale, the Silverstone auction sale at the Practical Classics restoration show at the NEC in March. The reason it failed the MOT in January is due to a number of electrical gremlins that they're trying to iron out. So here's how the car looks today, and you may well be able to buy it at the restoration show in March. So we'll revisit this video and see just how much the most famous ex-police Escort Cosworth actually sells for. 60, 70, less, more? You tell me. Would you be put off by the fact that it's an ex-police Cosworth? Or would you like the fact that it had that history? I think with this one, the history is more verified. This is the car I was able to find the most images of. Some of the others, maybe not. My next car is M969 PRM. Now, this car has never been MOT'd, but it did sell in March last year. I've got no data as to whether it's a 4x4 or not, and no mileage. There's no details on the DVLA, but my car check shows 4 previous owners being sold last year, and it passes all the checks. Where is this car now? You tell me in the comments. Let me know. Someone must know where that car is. I suspect it's running a different number plate, but again, once a car's changed number plates, it's not easy to know if you've only got the previous plate to go on. Now I've got one where the trail has gone cold, L602 UVE. It's another Lux 4x4. The last time it had a paper trail, it was on 75,000 miles, but the MOT expired in 2016. Interestingly, this car is an L reg, so it must have been built in about 93. It was written off in 96, and it shows 2 colour changes, one of which is 2016. It had its first and only MOT in 2016. Which was the same year the V5 was issued. If this car is still knocking around on the L602 UVE plate, then it must be in a private collection or a museum. However, as with the previous car, there's a chance that it's just now running on a private number plate. Again, tell me in the comments. Next up, I've got one that's gone missing. Now, this is an interesting one because I think this is not a Lux and not a standard. I think this is a motorsport car because the early photos that I found on it show it on the racing rally style wheels. This one was sold in 2006, so this is M982 GAT. Sold in 2006. It was white. It's showing a colour change. It's probably wearing a private plate though. I got nothing on this car. You tell me. Next up, I've got 3 no-shows, and the no-shows are basically where I can't find anything on the DVLA and I can't find anything through the car check system. L76 WRG, no data, but I did find on an obscure car forum a car check for this car from 2006. All that showed was that it was manufactured in 93, it had 6 owners, and the last owner change was 2003. So, dunno, car's gone missing. L475 BRG, I know that it's a luxury 4x4. I suspect this car is around, just running on a private plate. It was written off in 2005 and shows a colour change in 2006. I think it was changed to black, at which point it was owned by someone called Daz, because it wore the plate Daz 5885. But it was on that plate from 94 to 2004. So I don't know if it was black when Daz had it or it was black after Daz had it. 8 previous owners, last logbook changed 2012. So is it still around? Is it wearing a private number plate? Again, you tell me in the comments. Daz, I hope you're there. Let me know. Tell me some stories about this car. Finally, I've got N693 LNW. So this is a 1995. It's another Lux 4x4. I got no data. I got nothing on this car. However, I was able to pull up from an obscure car forum a poster called TC248 Carl. Carl, if you're out there, get in touch. I was the proud driver of Escort RS Cosworth, this one, when we got it new on the Skipton Traffic Department. I had it in service for 4 years. It was the Lux model, but they disconnected the sunroof. It never broke down, apart from usual service items, only ever had a new water pump. It was a great car, So I bought a white 1/18 scale model and had a scale model made of it. Here's the model that he had made. But what's interesting is the comment that comes next. Someone says, what happened to the car? TC248 Carl says, I tried to buy it at 96,000 miles. It needed the shocks sorted, but at the time we had a pretty underhanded transport manager who somehow managed to sell it to his daughter who ran a rally school. Until the day I retired, I don't know how he managed to save it, but he wasn't in the job long after. The thing about the Escort was that it was through a lease scheme through our local Ford garage, so they must have had an input. Absolutely right. I was lucky enough to go and do some driving with Gwyndaf Evans, who demonstrated how good the four-wheel drive was. A great guy, and I learned an enormous amount. After the Escort, we drove Subarus for about 11 years. We were very lucky at Skipton. Super interesting comment that the transport manager was able to pull the Escort Cosworth out from underneath the lease company, because I assume the lease company owned the vehicle and the police effectively rented it. So how was the transport manager able to buy it from the lease company without pulling some strings? Yeah, pretty interesting. So that's it. That's everything I was able to dig up on the 8 Escort Cosworth police cars. The police did use Sierra Sapphire Cosworth before. There's some very interesting stories about the Sapphire Cosworths as well. So if you want me to dig into that, then I can. One of them was famously hijacked by someone who dressed up as a police officer and went to the garage when it was being serviced, walked in and said, oh yeah, that's my police car, can I take it now? And they just gave him the keys. So they went on a 6-hour joyride until it was burnt out on a council estate in Manchester. So there's lots of stories about these police cars. I would love to know where all the Escorts are. If you know something about any of these Escort Cosworth, or if you have some funny police car stories that we can share, then do get in touch. My inbox is open, geoffbuyscars@gmail.com. Very much look forward to hearing from you. Thanks for watching. It's showing as 75,000 miles. Now, it's showing as a luxury 4x4. This is really funny. My car's starting to steam up, but it's not steaming up half as much as the Dacia Duster next to me. I think they're a bit miffed when I pulled up, but I'm happy for them to carry on. I'm just going to carry on over here as well. Guys, if you're watching, just get on with it. You're all good. Anyway.
Geoff buys cars. Still YouTube's most boring car channel.